Hey everyone, and welcome. Today I will be building a collectibles protocol that lets musicians mint and sell their music on Base in USDC. From creating tokens to making sales, join me today as we revolutionize music commerce. I'm going to get started by sharing my screen and we'll dive right into the code. The steps I will be following are all documented in my linear. I'm going to be deploying the protocol on Base Sepolia testnet. I'll then be creating an admin page where you can create a new token. I'll update that admin page so that you can sell that token in USDC instead of in ETH. And then I'll set up a collect page so that you can buy those tokens in USDC instead of ETH. Let's get started by deploying the protocol. I'll open up Cursor to deploy the protocol that I'm using. And let's move that over here. Hopefully I don't have an environment variable file open. Looks like I don't. Great. Close others. And now let me get my branch name. I'll go into my linear ticket, find the protocol deployment ticket that I made, Base Sepolia, copy the branch name I need. And now I can go over to my Get tab in Cursor, check out to, paste in my branch name, publish my branch. I don't have permission to push. It looks like I'm I've got an incorrect. Looks like I've got an incorrect version control open. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. Which means I will need to use my terminal for get commands. Get status, get checkout -v, paste my branch name, get add .cursor rules, get commit -m, I add cursor rules, get push origin branch name. Before I go any further, no, let's just keep going. Okay, so let's try to deploy this. Let me just ask what command can, well, let me just, I'm jumping a little bit. Do I already have an instructions file in here? Instructions, I don't see any instructions. Do we have a roadmap in here? I don't see a roadmap. Do we have cursor rules? I do see cursor rules. Looks like it's already updated to be in Solidity, and it already knows that it has a scratch pad. So the next thing I'll do is I will make a roadmap. Hashtag roadmap. This is overall what I'm going to be building, and I can use this to organize the scratch pad. Copy the ticket title, give it a little checkbox, paste the title of the ticket, copy the actual and the required of the ticket. Step 1, scratch pad. That's what I've been saying now. I just say what the step number is, scratch pad, make sure that it's got the file selected. As long as it has those, I let it update its scratch pad. I review what it's going to do in the scratch pad, and then I execute. Let's see how it updates its scratch pad. Okay. Deploy the latest collectibles protocol on Base Sepolia. Deploy the latest version of the collectibles protocol on Base Sepolia testnet. Let's verify the current contract versions, ensure compatibility with Base Sepolia, prepare the deployment configuration, set up the environment variables. Then we have verification, contract verification setup, proper verification API, documentation, pre-deployment, review the existing deployment scripts, configure Base Sepolia network settings, set up the environment variables, and verify the gas settings. Then we'll deploy the core contracts, deploy the factory contracts. Looks like it's already looking around and it already knows a little bit more. Let's try to keep up with it. Set up environment variables. We should not need an environment. Yeah, it's finding my env file. We should not need an alchemy key. Let's see what it has found. I'm going to wait till it stops running before I start giving input, but I want to stop it if it thinks we need an alchemy key, because I expect in what we're deploying today, we're using Foundry and we're deploying straight to the public base RPC. And so there should not be any reason we would need an alchemy key. Contract verification step, Etherscan API, key is present. Identified required environment variables. Base RPC, it should not need we should not need any alchemy key. Where base Sepolia RPC should be a public endpoint. Where do you see alchemy key requirement? Yeah, why are you saying we need an alchemy key? You're absolutely right. I was looking in foundry.toml, which uses alchemy endpoints, but for the base Sepolia, we should use the public RPC endpoint. Let me update the Scratchpad to correct this. Thank you. Let me check out the foundry.toml to understand what it is talking about. Probably inside of packages 1155 contracts, Foundry. Inside of here, yeah, it looks like we're using RPC endpoints. Base, I don't even see base Sepolia listed in here. So it makes sense where it's coming from, but we are not using that. There we go. Scratchpad, we've gotten rid of alchemy key up here. Base Sepolia RPC endpoint, no environment variables needed, found with the configuration. Update, that makes sense. Base Sepolia endpoint, okay. I'm liking where this is right now. I've corrected my mistake in Scratchpad. What would you like the next steps to be? Update foundry.toml. I would rather just start deploying. I'll let it keep going. Go ahead with step 1. I'll update foundry.toml to use the public base Sepolia RPC endpoint. Actually, stop. Did you review the README to see how we deploy? We should have a README somewhere. To see how we deploy. There we go. Okay. I needed to point it towards the README because the README, I have been documenting how we do our deployments. So we didn't need to modify a Foundry. So far, we should not have modified anything. We've only modified the cursor rules as far as I'm aware. Action plan. Deployment process is found in the README. We've done pre-deployment. We've set up our environment. We now need to follow the deployment process, deploy the implementations, copy the deployed addresses, update the factory implementation address, deploy the factory proxy, update the address file, deploy the secondary swap. That step's not important because we're not doing it anymore. Really, we want to stop at step 5. I'm going to delete number 6. Well, I'll just tell it. We only want to execute up to and including step 5. Remove step 6 from deployment process, please. Measure twice, cut once. Let's make sure that we're on the same page for what we're doing in the deployment process. Make sure we both agree on what the next steps are. It should be clearly defined in its Scratchpad. Start one. This is how I work with an AI when I want to update an existing code base using Cursor. The first thing I do is I open up my roadmap file and I put in my description of the task. Roadmap is my file I write inside of roadmap. I then tell Cursor step number Scratchpad, and it then goes into its Cursor rules and updates its Scratchpad based on the required docs. I then will go back and forth with the AI to have the AI clean up its own Scratchpad. I don't touch the Scratchpad, but I review the Scratchpad and tell the AI to update until its Scratchpad matches my vision for the implementation. Once I'm aligned on the Scratchpad, I think the AI understands my roadmap. I then let the AI start to implement the steps step by step. We're currently in the step of cleaning up the Cursor rules to get its Scratchpad aligned with my vision of my roadmap. My roadmap is very short. Its Cursor rules have now elaborated much more. We can see the deployment process, post-deployment tasks, progress, deployment process, clear step by step, no need to modify the Foundry file, RPC is passed directly in. So we can see it's getting an understanding of the deployment process as well as the required steps. And then we've even got the next steps. It knows it needs to execute this script, it needs to copy, it needs to update. And so I think we now want it to proceed. This all looks good. Let's get status. I don't think I want to commit the roadmap because this is again, my personal file. So I'm going to update the git ignore and add the roadmap file in it. Is there a miscellaneous file section? I don't see one. So I will create one. Hashtag MISC. Inside of here, we'll go roadmap.md. Now, if I run get status again, we can see we are only updating Cursor rules and git ignore, git add dot, git commit dash m. I update Cursor rules and ignore roadmap. So far, we haven't touched any coding files, any Solidity files. We probably won't be touching many Solidity files in this because we're doing a deployment. Git push origin, whatever our feature name is. And please proceed. Let's let the AI proceed with this deployment. Let's see if it knows the correct command to run. Looks like it is sharing all of my keys, which I do not want it to do. Note to self, if this key is important, I now need to cycle it. Use the exact command from README. Do not fill in actual env variables. Keep place. Keep the reference variables. In the README, it should be using, it should be using these private keys. There we go. Source from env first. Source, and then we run values required for Etherscan API key. Use Etherscan API key. CD, source, and then we run with our private key and our environment variable. All right, it's finally starting to do the deployment. We are 14 minutes in. We have aligned on our first task of deploying the protocol. Let's see if we can deploy the protocol. Good morning, Big Fred. You telling me it's breakfast time? I'm just doing one live stream, and then we'll do some breakfast. We'll all eat breakfast together, okay? And it's not time. If you're just tuning in, we are deploying a music collectibles protocol on Base. We're currently running our deploy script, and we're waiting for the compilation of our Solidity files so that we can deploy onto Base Sepolia testnet. We're going to deploy onto testnet. We'll then create a front-end page with Next.js so that I can create a new token on that protocol. After we've updated an admin page to be able to create tokens on it, we'll modify the admin page again to make sure that we're selling those tokens in USDC, because we want to be selling in USDC on Base for more stable pricing. After that, we'll create a collectibles page to be able to collect the tokens that we have created. Right now, it is still in the compilation step of 174 files that it needs to compile. Where are my sitting bones? Where's my pubic bone and my tailbone? Where's my sacral? Where's the sacrum sitting between the two halves of my iliac crest? Where are my iliac crests? Can Can we create some space between our ribs and our collarbone? Can we remember where our spine intersects with our cranium? Looks like we have an invalid API key. I can get that cleaned up. I'll bring it off screen. Let me go to basescan.org. I'll show this on the main screen for now. You go to Basescan, sign in. Fill in our login details. Log in. Once we log in, we should then see an API dashboard, and that's where I'm going to go to get my key. I'm going to move this off screen as well as my environment variables off screen, and I'm going to get that updated real quick. Go to my env file. I see my Etherscan API key. I'm going to update it with a base value, and now I'm going to come back over here and say, I've updated my Etherscan API key. Please deploy the first step again. Let's let it update its cd source deploy accept, run the command. It's in the wrong directory. It knows that it's already in that packages folder. For some reason, it doesn't know it. It'll generate a new command. We load in our new environment variables, and then we run our script to do the deployment. This time we should not be compiling, so it's going to be much faster. All we need to do is deploy. Setting up the EVM, doing some deployments. Now we're going to do the verification. It looks like now we're getting successful verifications. So we're deploying on Basepolia. We are verifying the contracts that we're deploying. And now we can actually start moving on to step 2 of the copy, update, deploy, update. We should be able to run all these in one command. So I think I'm actually going to add a roadmap step to P1 PNPM deploy protocol actual no deploy protocol script found. They'll deploy the latest version to the desired networks, executes all steps for deployment found in the README. Let's go back to cursor rules and see what the status is. Okay, it looks like we have new contracts. It's gotten rid of the pre-deployment stuff. We're now only on deployment. We deployed the ERC20 minter, which is what we're going to use to sell with USDC. We deployed our implementation contract, our factory implementation, and we verified them. We are now on the step of copying the deployed addresses. I'm going to verify that these contracts were deployed. So let's see if we've got any browser tabs open. Go to Basescan, get out of this private info. We're on Basescan. Not Basescan, I'm sorry. We want to be on Spolia.basescan because for now we're still on testnet. paste in the contract address that we just deployed. It was initialized 1 minute ago. We can see this is our ERC20 minter. So we are deploying contracts. It's updated its Scratchpad. It already knows to go and run the next one. Use PNPM instead of Yarn. So we've got a PNPM lock file in here, and I don't see a Yarn, so I'm confused why I tried using Yarn. Run that command. Okay, we're now having issues with the version of Node. This is something that I've had an issue with for a while, and I don't know how to ask the right question to fix it. ls, we want to cd into packages into 1155 deployments, and now we'll run that deploy command again, the copy command again. I've just run verify the results Scratchpad. I like to end everything with Scratchpad to get it focused back on its Scratchpad. I want to be able to see what it's thinking is its overall progress and its next step. And so in this case, I'm updating it with reality. I've done this thing, verify that I did this thing, and then update in your Scratchpad. So let's verify our ERC20 minter should be the same address that we see over here. Let me copy this, search for it over here. I can see that it's right there. So we've already updated some of our minter addresses. We're still on the basic Polio deployment. It's updating its cursor rules, and then it should tell me the next command that it wants us to run. Update the factory implementation. All the addresses have been successfully copied. Would you like, yeah. Yes, please proceed. I was expecting only CLI commands to need run. Update Scratchpad with the code changes you plan to make above and beyond the simple script executions. If possible, outline how we can automate this change to deploy with strictly CLI commands. I want to avoid, if I need to deploy a protocol, having to manually modify script files. So I want it to outline what files it actually needs to change. And if possible, remove the necessity to change a file so that we can just run one command line command and have all the protocol get deployed. We want to make it as easy as possible for our own team, as well as any music team globally, to be able to deploy their own music protocol so they can decide what the mechanisms are, what features are supported, how the fees are determined, etc. Prefer CLI commands, that's a good lesson. Deploy needs to read factory implementation instead of hard coding. Add the CLI flag. Not bad ideas. Let me check the deploy script and see what changes are needed. Based on my analysis, we need to modify the script to read the factory implementation address from the changed JSON file. That sounds like an accurate change. Quite a few things being changed now. Zora deployer base. We've got run, return string, deployment, get chain config. Now instead of factory implementation address, we get the factory owner, no longer being hard coded. It's now being read from our chain config. Same with the deployment, the factory address. Sounds good. I'm liking these changes. We no longer need to modify it manually. Okay, we've modified the script to inherit the Zora deployer base. It added automatic loading of the factory implementation from the deployment JSON, added automatic loading of the owner address from the chain config, added proper return of updated JSON deployment. Now it's going to go into deploying the factory, run the deployment factory script. We'll load in our environment variables. Then we will run the deployment factory script with all of our existing keys. Let's try copying this, paste it in, run it. I don't know why I guess we're compiling because we updated the factory that we are deploying with. After that, we should just need to update the addresses file, which again, I'm going to want to make that automated. Hi, Mama. Good morning. How's my fluffy little girl doing? Oh, I love when you want to come say hi. What's on your mind? Listen to you chirping. You sound so happy. Stroking your face on everything. You look so happy. Come here, Mama. Such a good girl. Come on. Come on up. Come in. Come in. There she is. There's my baby. No, that's where the camera is, babe. We're live right now. Please don't be modifying where my camera's at. Nope. I'll give you attention. Just please don't touch the laptop. Please don't touch, not right now. I know you always love stroking your face on the laptop, but it's gonna mess up the setup. So please don't. There we go. On the other screen's okay. But this is my workspace right now. So you want to be up here, it's okay because I'm compiling. But normally, I need you to find a spot that's not on my notebook. Or at least let me move the notebook so you're not standing on it. It's my water. You just come up and you dominate everything. This is my desk. But I love having you here. You just want to drink my water, move the camera, sleep on the notebook. Big stretch. Oh, I'm so lucky to have you in my life. Little coding partner. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Finally finished our compilation. We're deploying. Okay. Looks like we failed verification. Debug why verification failed. Babe, come on. I just told you. No moving the camera, please. I'm trying to focus on you while I'm working, but if you're going to start moving around the camera, I'm going to need to move you, okay? What was the command I ran? Etherscan API key, that should have been fine. let me check the README to verify the command is correct. Okay, babe. I know you want just all my attention, but I need you to understand I'm working. Okay? I know. Let's check out the README inside of here. Yeah, we missed the RPC URL this time. No, we didn't. I don't know what happened. So let me try to fix this. And we'll try running it again. Trying our deployment and verification again. Deployed. Can we verify this time? A invalid API key. Private key broadcast verify. We're doing something wrong. We were able to somehow do it right last time, but we're doing it incorrectly now. I might just need to move back to the previous step. Do it again. Deploy RPC URL. I mean, I guess maybe I'll try sourcing again. Source.env. And now let's try it again. Maybe it was just the fact that I had not actually sourced my environment variables. We're still getting invalid API key. I'm gonna verify my environment variable off screen. I have the incorrect API key being loaded. That's my error. Let's run it again. Source the environment variables. Script. Covered in cat hair now. There we go. Now we're verifying. Okay, I fixed the verification issues. Verify this step was successful. And then I say scratchpad. Let me verify if the factory proxy deployment was successful by checking the output from the previous commands. I can see, so it's seeing that something was deployed. 6, I don't think that's correct. Are you sure that address is correct? Should be able to check inside of broadcast. What did we just deploy the factory? Should be 6BC, which is what it's saying now, correct. Update your cursor rules with the correct address. Okay, we've now deployed the factory proxy. It's been deployed to that address. We now need to update the address file. Has factory proxy already been updated to this? Expand on which files would need updated. Scratchpad. I want to verify that the file it wants to update has not already been updated. I expect that it's already actually been updated. Okay, now it's telling me we want addresses 84532. So let's check out what's inside of addresses 84532. Yeah, we want is it possible to update the script to set the correct value in addresses automatically on successful deploy? I'd love to be able to skip this step and have it automatically get set. So let's see if that's possible. It's doing its thinking step. I should have said Scratchpad. Scratchpad. What's that copy command we were doing? Let me check package.json. When we run pnpm copy deployed contracts, it runs a copy deployed contracts script. Copy deployed contracts does what? This checks out run latest files. Will running this script properly copy the address? Look at that. We didn't actually need to write any code. Let's try running this again. And let's verify the before and after. So let's go to 84532. I'm expecting 0x6BC for the factory proxy. I see A3C. So let's try running this command. It looks like we were just updated to 6BC. So that's all we need to do. Let's update our README with that step. We can remove the secondary swap. Okay, I think we finished. I think we just finished the deploy. I ran the script. verify the output Scratchpad. We should now see that the task is complete on its side. Let's verify by going inside of our 84532. Factory proxy is what we really want to be calling. Can we take this over to Basepolia Scan, put in the address, and deploy a contract? Update the Scratchpad. Yeah, so it seems like we have just completed it. We should be able to go over to contract. This is a proxy, so we go to more options. Is this a proxy? Verify the proxy. Keep clicking it until it works. Click the save button. Now we can go back to the factory. And inside of the factory, if we go to the contract tab, we should be able to see write as proxy. And there should be a create contract or deploy contract, create contract button. Let's try to create a contract with an Arweave hash. Hey Sweets is the name. Mint royalty schedule, I don't know what this is. 500 royalty recipient will be me. I should do this over in Third Web because I can't connect my wallet in Basepolia in the scanner. We'll take this over to Third Web to do another deploy where it'll be a little bit easier for me to fill out the variables. But right now we're just testing that the factory we've just deployed actually works. We did our deployment. We're now going to verify it. If it all looks good, we'll push up our changes and open up a pull request with the latest addresses. Go to the Explorer tab. Once we're on the Explorer tab, we can then go down to create contract and do the same thing. AR:// Sweetman. It's got this tuple. Default admin. We'll make sweetman.eth, which is a different address than what I'm actually signing with. And setup actions, we will leave this empty for now. We'll fill these in the front end when we get to that step. Looks like my wallet is not properly connected. So I'm gonna have to redo some of these steps. I bet it's signed out. Can I use Phantom? Phantom's probably also locked, but I can unlock it. Connect our account, sign in. I don't have a Third Web account for what I'm signing in with, so it might ask me for something like an email. But I'll do that one-time setup. I have a Third Web account, log in. Yes, link them. It's going to send me a code. Cat hair everywhere, especially in my nose. Link in my wallet. Slow loads. Copy, go back to Third Web, paste, verify, continue to my dashboard. Let's go back. Don't know what happened there. Let's go to the Explorer tab. Let's verify we're signed in. We're not, so we'll connect our wallet again. All right, looks like we're good now. We'll create a contract again. AR:// hello world get the config sweetmin.eth, copy the address, paste the address, empty array for the setup actions, execute. Phantom wallet opens. We confirm a transaction. And it looks like we just had a successful transaction. It looks like it's not showing my latest activity. So what I got to do is copy the address on base Sepolia, and I'll go over to Etherscan again, paste in my wallet address, and we should see a transaction from a couple seconds ago. Create contract from 30 seconds ago. So it looks like we were just able to create a contract. We should be able to verify the contract info. Maybe. Initialized. Config updated. I'm seeing my new owner. I'm not seeing any the name anywhere, but that's probably normal. Let's go into the contract and see if we've got a name on it. We just created this contract. Is this a proxy? I believe this is a proxy. Let's verify the proxy. Keep clicking the button until it works. Go back to the contract that we just labeled as a proxy. Go into the contract tab. Read as proxy or write as proxy. I'm mostly looking for the contract name, so I think I can get that by taking this over into Third Web. Let's see if we now see Hello World misspelled, because I believe I misspelled that contract name. Hopefully we see it here. Hello World. So we have just deployed a collection. I think we're good. Let's go ahead and push these changes and open up a pull request. Get status. We have updated our cursor rules. I like that. README, I like that. Addresses looks good. The script, and we don't want this addresses file, so I'll remove that. RM addresses 11124. Get status. I'll get add dot get status. I don't think that added cursor rules, which is fine. Let's go into our roadmap again. Let's add an X here. We have now deployed. Let's take this entire line, paste it. Whoops, get. So how can I fix this? I only want Cuprex. This is what I'm looking for. Can you get rid of this one? Close this repository. Now we've only got Cuprex open. This is what I wanted. Now I should be able to paste in my full commit message, commit it, and we're on my branch, so I will push the changes. Yep, push it. Let's see if we now have a pull request. I think the README might have the latest addresses in it. It does not. But that's fine because we can get them from the deploy files. And it's one less place that they'll be not updated or out of date. We'll create this merge right into our main branch. Looks like builds are failing. I'm going to ignore that because it looks like they might have always been failing. Take this address, this URL, open up Slack so I can share my pull request with my team and start getting a review. Go to Slack, open up the Slack app. Slack's opening. While it's opening, let's review the files that were changed. If it goes too slow, just open it up in a new tab. We made updates to the cursor file. We ignored our roadmap. We've updated the variable names to be correct. We have deployed a new 1155 implementation, ERC20 Minter, factory implementation, factory proxy. We're not using any of these other functions for now, so we can ignore those. The deployment factory, we've updated to be using the Zora deploy script. We're no longer hard coding addresses in there. We're now referencing the full stack. This looks good to me. I am gonna happily merge this once Slack opens. Is this still Slack? What's going on, dude? There we go. Code review is now up and running. Let's take our link, label this as KubeRex, which is the project I'm working on for this. Paste the URL, paste in the ticket that I defined for this. Okay, it looks like these tickets are not automatically linked to my pull request, so I'll need to manually update. Let's give a little bit of proof for the work that we just did. We can show the addresses, latest addresses. Latest deployments. And so now that we've got our latest deployments, is there anything else that we can share? I guess we could share the exact transaction hash of when those were deployed. I see we've got Nash who just joined in. Nash says, "You don't stop shipping. This is great." No, I take a couple hours to sleep at night to unplug and make sure that I'm decompressing. But I'm really liking being on live and just doing what I need to do on live. In my personal practice, it gives me more focus I'm finding myself not opening up my phone in these little moments because I know I'm on camera. It also gives me feedback from the community. If I'm stuck and someone's watching, they will leave replies and I'll find people engaged in the comments like you are right now. That changes my practice by opening it up to public feedback in real time. Third, it automatically distributes the work I'm doing onto YouTube, which means when I want to chop it into shorts using Opus, I just need to copy the link from my practice into Opus, and my short form content is automated for the entire week. So 3 benefits that I get from shipping all the time and doing it in a live stream. I get real-time feedback. I get increased distribution. My screen time on my cellular device is going down. And if other people get value out of it as well, that's even better. So seeing when other people get value, it's like, wow, that's not even the goal. The goal is to improve my own practice. And if other people are getting value too, that's even better. But one of the downsides of building in public is everything slows down because we're live streaming. All that I want is the addresses so that I can share that address with the team. Let's get the 1155. Let's go to base Sepolia scan. Sepolia. And this was the transaction. And I'll just share the deployment transaction. Deployment TX. I think that's enough for a deployment, so I'll go ahead and ship this. Scroll all the way down, merge the changes, confirm. We have shipped. We take a screenshot, put our screenshot into Slack with the little ship emoji. And we have just shipped our first pull request for Monday. Took us an hour, way longer than I was hoping, but we did it. So I'm going to move forward with the next one, which should be a simple command and should make the next time we need to do this even faster. I'm going to make that new card I was just documenting inside of the roadmap a while back. Click a plus. Let's go back to our roadmap. PNPM, deploy protocol, P1. And now we take our actual and required. Create the ticket, move the ticket up top because this is what I'll work on real quick. Let's check out this branch and keep moving. Copy a branch name. We can now use this. We'll check out to our branch name. From here, I'll click the 3 dots and we'll click pull from, make it main to get our latest changes. I'll commit these changes real quick just so that we can have a clean status. Cursor rules commit, publish the branch, and now we've got a new branch. Step 2, Scratchpad. All right, it's resetting its Scratchpad. We want to create a new script, create a script that will automate the deployments, execute all deployments, support multiple networks, handle the environment variable setup, verify the contracts automatically, update the addresses files, load environment variables, deploy implementation, copy, deploy, update, verify, create a .sh. Can you make the script in package.json so I can just run pnpm deploy all? So I can simply run pnpm deploy all protocol. I guess it was going to do them both. We'll create a script that chains together the necessary commands. That's what I was expecting. Just create a new command and package that chains everything together. It's going to be a long command, but here it is. We've got to generate, and then we load our source, we do the deploy, we pass in all those variables, we copy the contracts, we deploy the factory, and then we copy the addresses again. It looks like it's going to do it all. Update the scratch pad. It's going to mark one as complete. I think it just did everything we needed to do in this pull request, so now we'll just test. I don't think we need to implement the core deployment logic. I think now we should be able to run pnpm deploy protocol, and now it should run through all the steps for us. It looks like it did not. It failed. RPC URL might not be defined, so let me define an RPC URL in my environment variables. I'll take this back. We'll go over to package.json, not package.json, inside of the README. I'll copy the RPC URL I'm trying to use. I'll go back into my env. We don't have an RPC URL, so I'll define one. RPC underscore URL equals my RPC URL. I've saved that into my environment variable file, and now I'll bring back the code. Let's try running it again with pnpm deploy protocol. We can see that it is now running correctly because the change that I made was that I set an RPC URL. It's now deploying, then it's verifying. Once it verifies, it should then copy the updated address, and then it should do another deploy of the factory. And after the factory's been deployed, it should copy the factory address, and then it should finish. So everything we just spent the last hour doing, it should now automate and do all of this together. We got another update. Very important message from Nash telling us to ship. Thank you, Nash. I wasn't going to ship, but now that you told me to ship, I will be shipping. All right, so we're waiting on the verifies. There's like 4 or 5 contracts that it's verifying, so it makes sense that it's taken a little bit of time. Each one it's trying the first time, it puts it in the queue, it waits 15 seconds in the queue, and then it just polls. It checks every 15 seconds. It'll try up to 7 times. Usually it takes 1 or 2 attempts before the contract verification works on Etherscan. It looks like now we have copied our addresses, and now we are running our second deployment, which is going to be our factory. I don't have to do anything now. Just sip in some water. It deploys the factory. It's trying to verify the new Zora factory. We'll need to refactor these contracts so it doesn't mention Z ** A. Or just Z. We don't want it to mention Z anymore. We let it verify the contract, and once it's done verifying, it'll copy the address, and then we're done. We just did everything with one single command. That's great. Let's push these changes and review them to see if it has updated all the files I expect. It's updating 1124.json, which I'm not sure I understand. It's creating a 1124.json. Let me try to find 1124 dot. Why is 11124 being updated is my question. Who created this and why? For now, I'm just going to discard it because it's not impacting us negatively. I can see we got new implementation, new Minter, new other implementation, new proxy. So it looks like everything was updated correctly. Let's take our roadmap command again, copy it, paste it into our commit message, commit the changes, push the changes, put an X inside of our box to mark that we've completed this. And we should now be done on the protocol side for today. We deployed OnBase Apolia. I made it even easier and made it a one-click setup for our ability to deploy. Now we're gonna set up another pull request. And once we ship this new pull request, we'll then ship over onto the website to start using the new protocol that we built, and we're gonna start implementing it into the front end. Usually you'll see devs do one side or the other. Either they will do protocol or they'll do website. In this video, we're actually gonna go end to end. We just deployed a protocol. Now on these new smart contracts, I'm gonna actually implement a front end to be able to do some actions on it. So if you don't know anything, this is probably gonna feel like a lot if you've never done Solidity and you've never done Next before. But if you're able to see this and just follow and keep up with the changes that I'm doing, it'll help you to be able to be a full stack dev where your back end is on-chain Solidity and your front end is whatever JavaScript language you want, whether it's Next.js or React or anything. Cursor rules, I'll ignore this because that's the agent scratchpad. Looks like our new contracts were deployed at a later time. Let me check out this factory just to verify that it was deployed and verified. We go over to this factory. Let's see what the contract is. It is a Z factory. We can go to the transaction. It was deployed 2 minutes ago. All this is looking good. So this is not the right pull request. This is the right pull request. And we've now got our deploy protocol script. So this is looking good. Simple changes, but effective, and will speed us up moving forward. Take this, put it into KubeRex. Looks like Jad sent me something. So I want to check in with him to see what he needs. How can I support you, sir? Move this to in review. Copy the name. Paste the ticket in. Add ticket link. Close the channel or the URL preview. We've now got my ticket. I'm gonna just add testing instructions. Test locally with PNPM deploy protocol. I actually want the README to get updated as well. Can you update with the new PNPM command as well? Keep existing deployment steps. Add PNPM as shortcut. Scratchpad. Always have it go back to the scratchpad, even if it's something simple, just because I think the thinking step is important in giving this. This allows reasoning. Instead of I give an input, I get a response, I want to separate it a little bit of I give you input, you reflect on the input and think about the input and organize yourself via the input. Then you implement off of your understanding and your mental model of the request. README, we've got a quick deploy, which will run the PNPM. Let's see what this is looking like. Quick deploy, or for more granular deployment. Boom, copy, deploy. We should not need to do the step 3 because step 3 is now automatic. So there's only 4 steps. I'm happy with this. Add PNP command to README for easy dev usage. We want to make the developer experience simple. Sync the changes. I've already shared. Whoops. create space there. I don't know what else to share here other than running it updates the addresses. Let's just share that, I guess. Running the command deploys new. Let's make a list of everything that it changed. So if you run the command, you get a new contract 1155 implementation. You get a new ERC20 minter, which is what we used to sell in USDC. We get a factory implementation. We get a factory proxy, which is what we actually hit in order to create a new contract. And then it's a new timestamp, which doesn't really matter. So we get a contract 1155 implementation, a factory implementation, and a factory proxy. This is a new version of the factory. Everything that we need is deployed right like that. So now I'm going to ship it, and then let's move on to the front end. We are an hour and 15 minutes in. The goal will be for this to be a 2-hour stream. That way I can shift over to another project in a little bit. I'm rubbing my eyes a lot. Finding myself sneezing and scratchy. I think I might need to clean up my house. Cat hair. From my two beautiful ladies. Take a screenshot of the ship. Go back to my Slack channel. Put the image in. Put a shipping emoji in. We have now shipped. Let's put in a ship emoji. All right, now that we have shipped, let's check back in with what our next task is. I'm going to check in on my notebook because that's where I keep my tasks. We have deployed our base Sepolia protocol. Now we want to create an admin page. Make this done. And let's take a step out into the collectibles protocol and go into the admin page now. We're now going to do the admin create on base Sepolia. I don't need the protocol anymore. I'll fully close this down. Let's go back to our terminal, cd admin app, and now cursor.slash here. We're now on our second app being built during this live stream. The first one was a protocol app where we were deploying a collectibles protocol on base. We're now going to use a front-end UI so that people can actually create new contracts on that protocol. We just got a question from Nash. What is the project? This project is KubeRex, so you'll see that now when we're testing. I'll get it up and running, and you'll see that this is the new protocol for KubeRex collectibles that I'm building out. Let's verify that by going over to my Git tab, and let's pull the latest changes from main. Go down to source control, check out to main branch, pull from main. Once we've pulled from main, I will then check out to my new branch, create page, publish the branch. And now I'm gonna do a little bit of setup from some changes that I've been making to my workflow based off of the Cursor AI editor. But before I do, I want to answer Nash's question. Let's run pm dev. This should start up our local Next.js server. And once we've got our local Next.js server, I'll be able to show that this is the KubeRex admin page. And so what we're building out right now is KubeRex new collectible protocol on base. And so now that I've deployed on base Sepolia, I will be updating the front-end UI admin page to make it so that when we create, instead of creating on Sound's shared protocol where Sound controls the fees and it's at a fixed price set in ETH, we're updating to use Coop's new collectible protocol that uses Coop's custom fees and is sold in USDC instead of for ETH. Step one, we're waiting for this to compile. My cat's got their toy stuck behind a piece of furniture. And so they're both over there trying to dig it out. Okay, we're still compiling, have not compiled yet. I found that this stack is a little bit slow to build. And so if this starts to get really slow because the builds are slow, I will need to end the stream so that I can focus on shipping quickly. The blocker I'm having right now is that this build is taking over a minute just to get the server up and running. I have found this to be the case when I try to build on Coop Records UIs in general. And so I'm going to give a maximum of 10 minutes building on this in public. And if the build times are still incredibly slow, I'm going to have to stop the stream so that I can build at a faster iteration pace. We're at 1 hour 22. Give this to 1 hour 30. Okay, it took 1.5 minutes to do the build, so we should be loaded now. And we can now see our CoopRex app has loaded. From here, if we want to create a token, we go to /admin/create. And once we're over here, we should see our normal create UI to be able to create a new, I believe right now I've set it up to be a song coin. So I need to add on a couple new buttons here so that you can create a new song coin, or you can create a new collectible token. So those are two different things. The song coin is the ERC20. Built that protocol back in November. We launched in December. And now we're doing a collectibles protocol, ERC1155. Before we were using sound. Now we will be using, this is just taking a while. Yeah, I think I'm gonna need to wrap this up because builds on live stream in the CoopRex ecosystem is very slow. I need to talk to Rami about why these builds are so slow. But create token, I believe, is creating an ERC20. And so what I'll need to do next is add a new button called create collectible. And so you can either create a token, which is an ERC20, and then you can select all the artists that are involved. Or alternatively, you can create a collectible, which is going to create on the new protocol I just built. I'll do a couple of updates and I'll see if I can keep moving forward. First thing I'll do is change instructions to roadmap. This is a change I'm doing so that people understand what this is a little bit more. I think instructions is hard for me to communicate with musicians I work with when I get on a live stream. So changing it to roadmap, I think it's the same functionality. This is the document that I write in as a human being. But the main difference is I now call it roadmap instead of instructions. Instead of using the check emoji like we have there, I do this open close and then I put an X inside of it. And so let me get this task set up. This task is going to be create page, admin create on base Sepolia. I think I can update this ticket a little bit more. New button, actual existing button, actual /admin / what's up, babe? You okay? Come here, Kiki. Hi, what's wrong? You okay? What is it? Is it your toy or the food? You upset that your toy's behind the thing? Once I finish up with this call, I'll go get you your toy. And we'll also all eat breakfast together, okay? At most 30 minutes more. I'm getting very close to a good stopping point, okay, baby? Actual admin create only has one button to open the create ERC20 pop-up. Required, we need a new button I know you're a hungry girl and I know you want your toys, but you're okay. You're still a chunky monkey. You're on your diet. New button, create collectible. We don't want to update the existing button. Only make a new button. Collectible. Okay, so we've got one button. We want another button. So there's actually quite a bit to do in here. In this step, let me go to chat to further define out the ticket for me. I like to use ChatGPT to expand my tickets to help me have a project manager without me spending too many cycles defining tickets. It's easier for me to verify that a ticket looks good than it is for me to actually write it. And so I take the name. I've already got a thread that I like to fill in. And so I'll put in the name, and then I'll take all of the description, and I just send this info, and then it should go ahead and fill in the rest of those ticket details for me. All right, let's take this, put it back into my ticket. And now let's review. Actual is that the admin create page currently provides only a single button to open the create ERC20 pop-up. And it actually, to open the create token pop-up, this limits the ability to create other types of collectibles from the admin interface. Add a new button labeled create collectible. Restrict creation to the basic Folio testnet only. No other network should be supported for now. I don't know that we need to restrict it. CTA on click. Call the create contract function on, well, first on click, open a pop-up similar to the other pop-up with the following inputs. Let's get the inputs that we need. We will need the content for sure, which is going to be media, select, image, plus audio. Title input. I think it's going to be pretty similar to the other one. Title input. Let's keep it simple for now and let people add in more later. We need a title. We need the media. We need a price in USD. And then we need a create button. I think it's a create button. Let's see what we've got over here and see what the differences are. So in here we've got a title, a symbol. I don't know that we need a symbol. We probably do. Let's put in that we need a symbol. Title input, symbol input. Song file, cover art, select artist. We need a splits. Splits. Input section. And then a CTA button. I mean, it's going to be the exact same, really. Let's keep it the exact same and just have the button click be the same and have the button click be different. We do need an input for price, but for now, let's on click open pop-up similar / same to the other pop-up with the following difference. Pop-up CTA button on click. Actual hard-coded to create an ERC20 token. Required if open for create collectible button. On click should call the create. We just merged this PR. Let's figure out what the address is and what we actually need. Let's go into our addresses. And I want the factory proxy. So we'll take this and go to basic folio scan. I'm going to go ahead and close down this comment. Let's search for this contract address. We get the contract address. Let's keep updating our ticket. It's going to call on the contract in the right contract side. We need to change this to a proxy. More options. Is this a proxy? Verify. Keep clicking verify until it opens the pop-up. Click save. Then once it says that it's successfully verified, we then click the link to return back to the contract we were looking at before. Go back to the contract tab. We'll now see a write as proxy option. And now that we have a write as proxy option, we should see the create contract method, which is what I'm looking for. Create contract. Call the create contract method on the Coop collectible factory, this address. Let me get the ABI to be able to get the parameters. Let's look for create contract. Well, I should be able to find it all the way down here in the ABI. I need the ABI of the code being implemented. Nope. Let's go to read as proxy. It's going to tell me the proxy address. I can go to the proxy address, and inside of the proxy, I can get the actual ABI in the contract tab. We scroll all the way down to the ABI. It's going to be a massive ABI. And inside of here, I should be able to find create contract. Here's the name, outputs, I want to go to Third Web because it's easier for me to read. Third Web is a great tool. I keep trying to use Etherscan because it's my default go-to. But Third Web just does small things like formatting of the ABI, which makes it way easier to read. Go to sources, go to the ABI, expand the ABI whenever that works. Find create contract. And now I can copy function ABI for create contract is attached. ABI for create contract function. I think we're good for now on what the definition should be. So let's go ahead and copy this over into my I really don't know why I did it like that. Okay, let's see if we already have the ABI in here that I need. Lib, I don't see ABIs in here. We should have an ABI folder, I would expect. Apps, here's ABIs. Coop Factory, Wild Token, is Coop, I think Coop, let's see if we have create contract, nope. So I'm not sure if we have the ABI in here right now, so I will create a new ABI. Let's copy the full ABI. Let me scroll, slow computer. Okay, we click the copy button. We create a new file called collectible factory ABI.ts. Inside of here, we'll say export const collectible factory ABI equals, and then we paste our ABI, and then we say as const. Why do we say as const? I am not fully sure, but it is what I do and what other people I know do. So we do it because it's what others do. Monkey see, monkey do. But what I can do now is I can copy this path, copy the relative path, not copy the path, copy the relative path, put that into the README, and then say function ABI for create contract is in there. Let's save this. And now we want to clear out our original composer. Let's make sure I have not changed any files. I have, so I want to add the git ignore. Do we have a miscellaneous section? We do. Inside of here, I'll add roadmap. Let's commit these changes. Git ignore. I ignore roadmap file. Commit it. What branch am I on? Admin create page. And then this, I add collectible factory ABI. Commit. Push those changes. Now we can tell cursor, please implement step 29, double enter, scratchpad. I hope it has a scratchpad. Let me verify it does by opening up the cursor rules. I'm actually not sure we have cursor rules. Do we have cursor rules here? We don't even have a cursor rules here. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me get a cursor rules in this. We'll do that by taking it from Recoup, because Recoup I know has the latest cursor rules for Next.js. cd ... cd into Recoup. Inside of Recoup, the Recoup chat should be up to date. And so we'll cursor / on the Recoup chat repo, so that way I can get my cursor rules. Cursor rules is fundamental for getting cursor to do what you want without hallucinating. Agent APIs, here's our Recoup chat. I'm going to find the cursor rules file. Let's copy this, paste it over here, paste it. All right, so you're a TypeScript expert focused on writing clean, maintainable code. We then have thinking block to remind it to always think. And then we talk to it about its lessons. It has its own lesson section and then a scratch pad. I can't believe we don't have cursor rules in here. I init cursor rules. Push the changes. And now let's try sending it again and see if it now actually updates its scratch pad. First, I'll update the scratch pad to track the event. It already is updated with its latest cursor rules. And so now it should be off to the races. Implement create collectible button. Add a create collectible button and functionality to the admin create page that uses the Coop collectible factory contract. We'll first add the button, then we'll modify the modal system, add a discriminator for token versus collectible. We'll update the contract integration. Task initiated, plan created. We now need to check the current implementation, review the existing modal system, and then begin implementing the changes. The thinking step is now off to the races. I gave it a general goal. I gave it a set of rules, and now Cursor is doing a whole bunch of research on the code base. It's checking different files it's going to need, and then it's checking it's following its own plan. It wrote the plan. I focus on the measuring and the definition of the end state. If I define that well, the AI will be able to pick everything up and implement it all in a very simple manner. Here's what it'll need to do. First, it'll update the admin create page to add the new button. Then it'll create a new modal component. Then it'll update the modal manager to handle the new modal type. And let's start. Okay, we created a new button called create collectible. And now it has forgotten to go and update its scratchpad. So part of me wants to tell it, stop writing code, go back to your scratchpad. But I'll let it go for a little bit. I'll let it at least go for this step. So far, it has modified 2 files. its own cursor rules, and it updated the overall page to add in a new button. Now it should be creating a brand new modal that we're going to be able to use to create a collectible. And now we need the modal manager to be updated. Collectible factory, create collectible, ABI. Our typing, we're using a string here instead of the actual address type. Collectible factory ABI. Seems like it's being imported correctly, so I'm confused as to why it doesn't like it. Modal manager, we should be adding in our new collectible create modal. We did, and this should fix the error that we saw over on page. This error should go away now that we've updated our modal manager. Let's comment this out, and then uncomment it. And all the errors should go away in this file. Scratchpad. Well, I'll leave it. Why are you telling me? Well, I don't even need to think about it. Let's fix it in Composer. Looks like there's a type right here where we have to set it. I wonder what the difference is between collection create and collectible create. Looks like it's only being used here, so I'll remove it from here. Our page, no more errors. Modal store never had errors. Modal manager, also no errors. However, collectible create modal does have errors. Am I missing anything? Export it as a const. Export const ABI. Export const ABI. I'm not seeing the difference. Let's start on the errors inside of this file. Okay, so one of our errors kind of just disappeared. Let's have cursor fix this other parameter error. I don't think it's doing the correct parameters based off of the ABI, so I'm hoping now it's going to read the ABI. Reference the ABI, please. You should definitely be referencing the ABI. It requires more parameters than we're providing. That's absolutely correct. Okay, we now pass in a metadata URL, name of the contract, minter params, or the royalty params, the default admin, and then the setup actions, which we're currently leaving empty. This looks good and should fix the errors. Okay, it looks good overall. I'm seeing some errors down here. File null is not, and then on change. Let's focus on which error is more important out of the two. I think the on change is probably the bigger error. And then the file just seems to not be handling the undefined state well. Okay, now it's file undefined instead of file null. And for our, did it fix both of them by doing that? Looks like it fixed everything by doing that. So we did one change and that fixed it all. Let's see if our changes worked. I see a create collectible button. I click on it. I have the ability to enter in a name, a description, upload an image. Let's upload one of our mermaid diagrams. Let's get started. It should ask us to sign in. I'm going to try doing this with Phantom because Phantom works better on my computer and is not a piece of junk. I have already logged into Phantom, so I'm surprised it's asking me again, but I'll do it again. Copy my Phantom password, go back into Phantom. Confirm our account. Now it should ask us to, nope, we're all good. Let's go back to create a collectible, yada, 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 upload an image, upload an image. Now let's try to create. This should be creating a token on our new contract. Let's cross our fingers. I didn't have to write any code and we're signing a transaction. This is great. I love Cursor. I love the state of blockchains. It says we're on Base Network right now, which is not accurate. We should be on Base Sepolia. So why are you trying to do this on Base? Where can I set a network? Can I do it? Wallet, where's wallet client coming from? Wallet client is coming from use wallet client. Okay. Wallet client is coming from use. That means that we have a config. Let's check out our providers and see where we're setting. Or I guess our layout maybe. It might just be defined in our layout. Let's check inside of app, layout. We do have a providers. Why wasn't it finding it? Inside of our providers, we have a smart wallet provider and we have a WAGMI provider. Where's our WAGMI config? Okay, it looks like inside of here, we should have Base Sepolia also configured, Base and Base Sepolia. But for some reason right now, I am on Base. Do we have a const file where we define testnet? Constants. Inside of here, I see an isprod, and that should change our chain. So we have a chain, and that's what I would like to use. Can I do that inside of a use write contract? Can I say chain? I do see chain is a potential, so we'll go chain, and then do chain. We need to correctly import. Import chain from wherever our constants file is. Let's right click, get the relative path, paste the relative path. That's going to be @lib constants. Okay, so hopefully now we are actually signing on. Cannot find name chain. That should not be correct. Looks like our error's gone away. Let's try clicking the button this time and see if we are now on Base Sepolia instead of Base Mainnet. We're very close. We have almost gone from deploying a protocol to creating a UI where we can create a token on that protocol. Can we finish in less than 2 hours? That's going to depend on how fast our server can compile the changes. Because right now we're still loading. slow servers are not the servers that we prefer. We prefer servers that can load quickly to allow for rapid iteration for developers. It says it was compiled. It only took 63 seconds, aka over a minute, to compile. It's very slow for devs. Let's try proceeding. Click the create collectible button. Yada, 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 yada. Upload an image. Select a mermaid diagram. Create. Fingers crossed. Hopefully this time we create on base Sepolia instead of on base mainnet. It collapsed without showing it, so I'm going to think we need to do await wallet client. Catch up, please. Await wallet client dot switch chain. ID is chain.id. That should be all we need to do. Refresh the page. Loading is always slow. Try to get something in real quick. Try the create button. Please fill in all fields. It needs me to upload an image. Creating. Are we actually going to be on? It's opening it up this time. Are we on base Sepolia? We got to enter in our password again. Lovely. I wonder why Phantom keeps having me put in a password. Is this normal? Anytime a network switches, we've got to re-enter in a password. Confirm the transaction. It's still saying we're on base, so I'm going to reject this. Let's try creating again. Nope, transaction went away. I'm just waiting for the page to load because right now I don't know if we have the latest version or if we're still loading. Because again, builds are very slow in the human interfaces for Coop Records. This results in a slower build time, which results in fewer features being shipped, which results in a business that just moves slower overall because the devs have to move slower. A normal build time on a Next.js project is anywhere between 1 second to, on the slow side, 15 seconds. So to see an app that takes 60 plus seconds to do a build in a dev environment is scary. And then even when it loads, it still has bugs where it reloads me. So far I've been given a lot of tasks that are causing me to expand. And so there has not been the capacity to come back and clean up some of the things that are slowing down the process. As a result, I just try to, I don't live stream as much. And I focus on building off stream where I can have a slightly faster dev environment. It has collapsed my pop-up twice. If it does it one more time, I'm going to end the stream so that I don't continue on this loop of making no progress because of a slow dev environment. Yada, 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 yada. Select an image. It's loading again. It looks like it's about to kick me out again. Creating. It's already refreshed the page. All right, with that, we are going to wrap up the stream for today. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. If you got any value out of the stream, please click like, click subscribe, click any of the buttons you see around on the page because any button click you make helps more people to see the open source building in public work that we are doing. So thank you again for tuning in. This is Sweetman signing off.